An individual's social and emotional well-being involves their sense of belonging, identity, community inclusion, and emotional expression. All of these factors are closely linked with maintaining good mental health. When these needs are not being effectively supported, mental health issues can begin to surface, especially in adolescence. In fact, 23% of hearing teenagers in Australia admit to having some form of mental health issue. What's even more alarming, however, is that the same study found that deaf or hard of hearing children were almost twice as likely to be experiencing problems with their mental health. So, what can we be doing as a society to help support this at risk group? There are two perspectives that guide the way society runs in regards to disability. The medical model views people by what they cannot do and what they need to have fixed for them to be included, whereas the social model views society as a mechanism that needs to be fixed to support the inclusion of all its people. Currently, there are a variety of youth groups that exist in Australia: Here for You, Deaf Australia, Deaf Church, and the Lions Club. The primary aim of these groups is to provide a safe, accessible space for DHH teens to socialise and engage in the community. The Lions Club hosts an annual deaf camp that provides an accessible means for DHH youth to become involved in the traditional school camp, allowing them to engage in activities such as team building that they would not otherwise have access to on a regular school camp. These organisations follow the understanding of the medical model, creating separate social situations for DHH youth to be engaged in that don't interact with the rest of society. However, Dylan Alcott's Ability Fest is an example of a socialistic model event. The event is open to the wider society but incorporates all elements of access, including Auslan interpreters, ramps, and quiet spaces, so that all individuals are able to be involved. However, accessibility is often not the norm and needs to be prioritised more in Australia to ensure the social and emotional well-being of all people. The barriers in Australian society include NDIS limitations and a lack of Auslan counselling services. NDIS funding is in place to support people with disabilities to help them live as fully as any able-bodied person. Though, in the case of deafness, NDIS will only provide support to people classed as profoundly deaf or those with a severe hearing loss if they can prove that their lives are significantly impacted. In Australia, only 25% of the deaf population fall into these two categories. This means that 3/4 of all Australian DHH people are financially responsible for important facilities such as interpreters, and many are forced to go without. Speaking of going without, despite DHH youth being almost twice as likely to suffer from a mental health issue, there are currently only a handful of Auslan qualified counsellors in Australia, all of which are located in Victoria. Interpreters can be used to facilitate communication, but this can be a costly service for those without NDIS funding. There also needs to be far more education for practitioners on how to work with people with a hearing loss to ensure the most effective care possible. In aiming to improve and foster inclusion, Australia can benefit from looking to other countries and what they are doing to support their deaf community. UK and other European countries tend to take on a more socialistic view of disability, with organisations such as the Royal Association for Deaf People facilitating mentorship and communication facilities at mainstream events. We believe that Australia needs to remove the ideology that a cochlear implant is a solution to DHH accessibility and instead function in a way that enables the inclusion of all individuals, regardless of disability. For DHH accessibility, this would look like a larger presence of Auslan interpreters, mechanisms for ordering that don't include speech, Auslan as a recognised language that is taught in schools, and captions in all media.